How you doing, everybody? Welcome back. Exactly where we left off last time, and we're going to be installing Sabnzbd. This is video number 2. So here we go. For Sabnzbd, we're going to go into the apps section, and we're going to type Sabnzbd. Hit enter. You're going to have many choices. I already have this particular one installed from Linux Server IO. It's my favorite ones to install. And I also hear very good things about Hot.io's repository. So today I'm going to give this guy a try. So I'm going to go with the Hot.io repo. You could do whichever you want, but between these two, you can't go wrong. So let's start with this one. You're going to hit install. It's telling me that one or more of the ports are already being used, and that is correct because I already have the app installed. So we're going to click continue. You shouldn't have that issue if it's a fresh install. We're going to go with the default, which is the latest all the time. So click on the latest, and it takes you right here. Okay. So I'm going to change the name of Sav. I'm going to put Sav for tutorial. Yours should probably be empty. Should be like this, but since I already had it, it added a -1. I'm going to change that -1 to a TUT for tutorial, just to keep it separate. Okay. All right. Remember we created that custom network. This is where we go and take care of it. We're going to go into the YouTube. Step 1. Booyah. Okay. The ports 8080, I already have it in use, so I gotta change that. So let's see what I got available. If you click on show allocations, it tells you all the ports that are being used. Okay, so not too many are starts with a number 7 or number 6. Let's go with number 7. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna change this port here to a number. You know what? Let's not change it so you can see what happens if you have a conflicting ports. We should get an error. Remember the path when I told you that the Docker containers like to save their stuff inside that share folder? Well, that's the app data folder. I don't want it to overwrite anything, so I'm going to change the app data folder to the tutorial folder that we created. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to erase that. I'm going to hit that. Go into app data, YouTube tutorials. I want to hit that, save it, and it was called Sabnzbd. Okay, so when I do this, it's going to create a folder inside the shares. I'm explaining this in case you didn't know. Sorry about that, but I'm only gonna explain it for this video. And it's gonna go into the YouTube tutorial. It's gonna create a folder in here called Sabnzbd, and all the config files are going to be stored there. And why is this important? Because if at any moment I decided to delete the container, I do not lose my settings. I could just rebuild the container, point it to the correct directory, and we're back in business. That's what that's for. It's so that you have persistent configurations, persistent data. Because don't forget, containers are a one-time use, technically speaking. Once they load up in memory, that's it, and they run. If you turn it off or shut it down, and you do not have a spot to save their configurations, they forget what they are, and you have to start from scratch. Anyway, pointing it there, and then it says host for data. This is, for I understand it, this is Hot.io's, they call it dash data. It's because they are wanting you to keep in mind about the data folder. The dash data. That's why I picked the word data, because of the trash guys, and I know for what I read that the Hot.io keeps the same format. The other guys do not, but doesn't matter. So you're gonna point it to the data folder. Where's the data folder? For our case, edit. Mine is the data YouTube, but this is a remote connection. So in remote connection, you're gonna click here, click remotes. Pick the data YouTube You will pick data, whatever, but mine is data YouTube, and that's where I'm pointing. And then this guy only needs to see the Usenet, so I pick that. Okay, and since it's a remote connection, it's a slave. Always make sure you have that when you're playing with remote connections. Slave. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm giving access to the data Usenet folder to Sabnzbd under the container within itself called data. Okay, that's it. So if I hit apply, I will have an error because we are having a conflict, but I guess you get to see the error and then we do it again. So hit apply. It goes out and downloads the image from the repository, decompresses it, and then attempts to load the container. And then of course I get a command fail, and it should tell you, it tells you that the port is already allocated. We knew that from the beginning because it told us at the beginning, but we're gonna fix it. Back done. So now what happens? Oh, now I messed up, go back here, hit install again. But we already filled up stuff, so we just go back out. We fill that information, unless you want to do it again from scratch. We're gonna add a container. And remember the template? If you look for Sabnzbd, we're gonna have the one that I was working on before we crashed, Sabnzbd tutorial. Click that, and now everything's preloaded already. Custom preloaded, and the correct YouTube tutorial folders preloaded already. See, that's where the configuration file is gonna go. And of course my share. But I'm gonna have to change this port, and I'm gonna put a 7. I think we said 7. Let's do 3s. I'm gonna do a 3. 3080. That's gonna be the port. And we hit apply. Now we shouldn't fail. We should get a, what do you call it? Successful. Hit OK. Now you're gonna see the container. The way Unraid likes to show it. I like to have it inside the little folder. So I'm gonna click this, edit, and any container that's not assigned, to a folder is gonna have this turned off with that folder view. Click it, submit, and now we are nice and pretty inside this container, inside this folder. Okay, next step, setting up the configuration for this particular unit. I changed the port to 3080, so that's what I gotta go into. So if you hit this little world thing, if you look at the bottom left corner of my screen, you can see that it's pointing to the port 3080 on my local machine. So we click that, and that's the configuration wizard. Pick a language and then start the wizard. This particular one is as easy as pie. You gotta put that info of any of those two, or whichever you purchased. You gotta put it in here and then click test server. When you click test server, this is gonna be green, and that means you're good. If it ain't green, you have something incorrect, either the name of the host, the wrong password, or whatever, or you have the SSL, or you're using an SSL connection when you are not using the correct port. Anyway, if you're using port 19, this could be unselected, and you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so I'm gonna come back once I fill this out. Okay, after I fill that out and I hit test, I got the green box. I hit next, and here we are. Setup is not complete. It's complete, but it's not 100% complete. We have to assign these folders to the correct share, where we have, remember the share that we created? And where's the picture? In here, we have to point Sav to those incomplete and complete folders. Okay, right now it's looking at the incomplete and complete folders within Unraid. In other words, it's going to look for the folders under the YouTube, under the config in here. It's looking for those folders here. Are they there? Yes. Can you let them use it? Yes. But if you do that and you have your share somewhere else, you're not going to have the atomic transfers anymore, and everything's going to be a little bit slower. So let's fix that. And inside Unraid, we're going to look for the completed folder. So that's where all our downloads are finished. Click here. Takes us to this setup page. If you didn't click it, if you just went straight to the main screen, you're gonna go into your Sabnzbd, the gearbox. You're gonna go into the folder, and you're gonna see that all the folders are based under the /config. And remember, /config is inside the app data folder. We don't want that. So where is our incomplete /temporary downloads folder gonna go? I'm gonna click browse. I'm gonna go back one more, still in config, back one more. This is the base inside the container, and we created a a a share called data. If you don't remember that, go back to the container. I'm sorry, I've been a little more straightforward in detail on this, but it's only going to happen on this particular install. All right, remember the config? That's the config inside the container, and it's pointing to the app data YouTube tutorial. The data container inside the data folder this is inside the container, is pointing to the Usenet side. Remember the Usenet shares? And inside the Usenet folder, you're gonna have two folders, complete and incomplete. But you pointed to the root, so you pointed there. That's what this is information. That's what this is getting the info from. So now we are here into the data folder. If you click it, we should see the complete and incomplete. So click. Hey everyone, this is Future Paul here, making a little amendment to this one video. I ran into a problem down the line, and I figured I might as well fix this before I post this video up on YouTube. So the issue was that the radar was telling me that it didn't know where the download folder was for Sabnzbd. When we set up Sabnzbd, we assigned the Usenet section to the data folder, right? And everything seemed to work at the beginning, but after a few minutes, it had an error. So to fix that, you need to add the word Usenet to the folder here. So we go edit, and we add the container path, and we add the word Usenet, and we point it to the Usenet from our remote share. You do that, hit save, relaunch the container, then you go back to your Sabnzbd, and when you are in this folder section, now you should browse to set the incomplete folder. When you're done, you're gonna see data/Usenet, and the same goes for the complete folder, data/Usenet, then complete, and then you save that, and your categories are the same. I just deleted the two extra ones that I really don't use. So those are based on data Usenet complete, and then movies and /movies, or data Usenet complete /TV shows. I had to make this change on Sabnzbd. Once I did that and restarted both containers, the error went away. So keep that in mind, and see you with the rest of the video. Bye-bye. That you need to do, and I don't understand why, but it's required, is you have to assign a username and password to this thing. You have to, otherwise the applications are not going to connect to this. Very, very strong, super secret password. Okay, so make sure you guys, wow, not supposed to be covered. Make sure you use a fantastic password. So we're gonna call this password 1 with a capital P. Okay, and you're gonna save it. It's gonna be a restart. Okay, and to restart, there we go. So then capital P, password numero 1, enter. Okay, this is a a nuisance error. You might get it, you may not. I have always gotten it when I connect to a Synology box. So this is cosmetic. You could get rid of it very easily, which we're going to do that right now. It says over there you could get rid of it by changing the helpful warnings, turn the suckers off. How do we do that? Sav config. That's part of the switches, I believe, or special, and we look for helpful warnings, right? Helpful warnings. Click that off. Look for the save button. Save changes. Okay, and then restart. And then we do this again. Refresh. Number one. Hopefully remembers this time. Okay, see, no more warnings. Okay, so we got this taken care of. So from this page, you're gonna go back to general, and you're gonna remember where this is at. You're gonna need the API key down the line. So this is the completion of how to install Sabnzbd. Oh, wait a minute. And I also gotta add the other server. So when we first started this thing, we only added the first one. Now we have to add this, in my case, the second one. And for that, you go to the server page and you go add and you put in the info. And you see where it says connections? Defaults to 8. Well, 25 for me because that's what I get from the other network. So I'm going to post this and I'm going to put the information there. Okay, I finished adding the other information. So now I have the 2 particular Usenet servers that I have accounts with. And I think that's it for this. We set up our Sabnzbd. We have a password that is required with a username. We're going to make a note of this IP address for future use. We definitely will come back to it here. We fixed the folder issue because this is like very important. We pointed to the right direction, and we pre-filled our categories and pointed them to the correct folders where they need to go after Sav finishes downloading them. And that's it for this. This will be the end of this video. The next video is going to be installing Prowler, and that will be it. Okay, thank you for staying. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Goodbye.